You want an opening statement? Okay. A very physical game. The way we started, there was a little bit of a pattern or a trend for us later in the year. Our starts hurt us, and when the Trice young man had 13, I think, of their first 15, we dug ourselves a hole. And then after that first 5 minutes, it wasn't a matter of heart or effort. I thought our guys laid it on the line, but when we needed a key stop or a bucket to be made, it wasn't there. If you look at it, we took 17 more shots than they did. We had trouble finishing and trouble making shots, and then there's a key breakdown. And again, Michigan State, they're playing good ball right now. They're very tough, and they got some guys who made some big plays in that setting. But stings right now, of course, the finality of the season after you had a heck of a year with these guys, what they've done. But it just leaves that feeling that you wish you could have taken it further. But it doesn't take away when the dust settles what was accomplished, and we'll give thanks for that, but certainly learn from what took place.
Okay, questions for Justin, Malcolm. Please raise your hand, and let's get the handheld mic to you. Let us know who you are, who you're with. First question to our left.
Justin, Graham Couch here from the Lansing State Journal. Can you talk about Brandon Dawson's impact on this game inside in the paint and what he was able to do and how difficult he was for you?
Well, we knew the challenge that he presented to any basketball team, his ability to rebound, his ability to pound on the inside, and tough fadeaway jumpers. He's a very complete player down there, and I think early we didn't match his energy, but we did a great job getting back to who we were, and I think we did a solid job on him. I'm not sure about the numbers, but he's a tough player.
To our right on the aisle.
It's for either or both players. You guys, Coach mentioned that trend of slow starts, but your defense keeps you in those games. How do you balance, even with your defense playing well all year, when you don't have that offensive consistency? How do you get that back? And, defense, if it sparks the offense, it just seems like especially the last two losses, that wasn't there consistently enough on offense.
Malcolm?
I think it's about what Coach Bennett said earlier, getting off to a good start, whether it's being sure-handed with the ball or not having defensive breakdowns. Our defense does lead to our offense, but when you're having defensive breakdowns and you can't get stops, and you're having trouble seeing the ball through the net, then you're going to struggle. So offensively, I think that's why we struggled a little bit.
To our right.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times, for Malcolm over on the side. Why was Trice able to have that hot start?
I don't think we made him uncomfortable. I thought he was too comfortable at the very beginning. Losing him in transition and just not pushing him out of his comfort zone. When players that can score at that level get comfortable, then they're going to knock down a lot of shots.
Middle of the room to the left.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. What did Michigan State do defensively to you guys that contributed to your 29% shooting tonight?
I think they play a similar pack defense. I think they jam the lane, and then when we come off our down screens, which is a staple in our offense, they swipe the gap really hard, which I thought let us, it disrupted us a little bit more than we should have let it. And, we just got a little bit out of chemistry.
To our left.
Jeff White, VirginiaSports.com. Justin, there were a couple sequences in the second half where I think you were down 2 and maybe 3 and had an opportunity to get back there. Did you feel like the breakthrough was coming and at some point you're going to catch up and take the lead?
Yeah, I didn't have a doubt in my mind throughout the course of that game that we were going to win that game. This team's resiliency and ability to fight, no matter what the circumstance may be. I just knew that we had our heads in, and we knew what we had to do to try to fight back. And it hurts when you pull that close in the second half, and maybe they get a big shot, a big bucket, or whatever the case may be. It really hurts because we know how hard we have to fight to get back when we dig ourselves in a hole like that.
Front row.
Doug Dowdy from the Roanoke Times. Malcolm, could you talk about that as a team, 2 for 17 3-point shooting and some of your three-point difficulties here?
I thought offensively we're just a little out of rhythm, and it's hard to knock down threes when you don't see one go through the net. So we just struggled in that way, and Michigan State played good defense.
Any other questions for Justin or Malcolm? Okay, thanks, guys. Head back to the locker room. Congratulations, great year. Okay, questions for Coach? First one to our left.
Hey, Tony, Jeff White, did you feel the defense and rebounding were good enough had it been a decent offensive day to win this game?
I think so. Michigan State, I thought early we were bailing them out with our offense. You have to shift them. I mean, they're set. They're like us. They're standing in the elbows, and they're really jammed in there, and the ball has to shift. You can't just stand one pass and then either throw it inside and the defense hasn't moved. And the ability to move the defense and be physical and finish. I mean, we had a lot of opportunities. You look at our offensive rebounds, 18 of them. We got some in there. We just had trouble finishing, and it's not like they're huge. But I thought when we settled in, we moved them better and got some looks. But, just the percentages, whether it's the key free throw here or there, the three-point shots, and then finishing, your defense can only hang in there so long. It was enough, but not the start. And to mention, you asked a question about Trice. He hit some tough ones early, too. A couple real tough ones that got him going. And then a couple times, we didn't have that many turnovers, but 3 of them were crucial because we call them live ball turnovers. They're the ones that, boom, got them going. They run out, and they get points off of them. And that hurt because we didn't shift the defense right away and attack. So,
Far left.
Coach Graham Couch here, Lansing State Journal. Same question about Brandon Dawson. Early on, he seemed to really impact the paint defensively, especially, and that altered things a little bit.
I think his eyes light up when he sees Virginia because he was terrific last year and he was good again. He's not, 6'6", 6'7". He's so athletic and so strong, and our guys had trouble finishing. I mean, that's where you have to be able to use fakes, draw fouls, and do things. But he was a man. He made some tough shots, blocked shots, got on the glass. And you can see why he's as good as he is, and he plays well in big games. He's done that twice on a big stage.
Again, to our left, Coach.
Coach, can you talk about that 4th foul on Atkins with about 8 minutes to go and how that changed maybe the momentum you guys were building?
What was the score at that time? It was a 6-point game. It looked like a clean block, and when you're clawing and trying to get back in it, you need everything to go well for you and go right, and that hurt. And then there was end of the shot. That was at the end of the shot clock right there. It seemed like there was a little bit of a momentum shift there, but that certainly hurt us. Maybe when I watch the tape, I'll realize that I overreacted to it, but I thought it was a good block, and again, we needed everything at that time.
3rd row, right in front of us.
Jim Utter from the Charlotte Observer. Coach, you mentioned Brandon Dawson from last season. In this game, did you see anything? The difficulties you had were similar or reminiscent to the problems you had facing them last season? Or I know it's a different season, different players, but
honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, I think he made some tough shots against us last year. We tried to match up Darion Atkins on him, our most athletic, lively defender, that. Last year, I think he had 24 and 10. This year he's 9. He was timely. That was the thing. Is timely. He probably impacted the game more defensively this year than he did last year. So everything he did was timely at the right times, and he's a load. You can see that.
Front row.
Doug Dowdy from the Roanoke Times. Tony's obviously referred to being a little bit out of sorts early.
Yeah.
What was the deal on that timeout where they were going to review it? I thought you guys were thinking they would take a point off the board, and they ended up putting one on at 8-4.
Yeah,
what happened there?
Nice call, right? Yeah, you're hoping to get one off. He said both of them were threes. They had those in. They were checking them. We didn't call the timeout for him to check it. Called the timeout to try to get ourselves going. But they reviewed both of their 3-pointers, and we thought his foot was. My staff said his foot was on the line on the second one at the top of the key, and then they went back and saw they had put the review in before, and both were threes. So that was what it was.
Back right.
Coach Mike from Richmond. Just what I asked the players, when you're getting the stops, it seemed in the first half you guys were playing good defense. You just couldn't finish after the initial run.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you get them to if the defense isn't sparking the offense, what next? It's
a challenge. I mean, we got some shots. We got some offensive rebounds. We're not we're not the greatest offensive team. We don't have, tremendous shooting. So, that's why I said, let's shift the ball. We decided to make a concerted effort to pound it inside and try to get some stuff. We got a few things there. We got some good looks, but when you're that cold, hard to beat a team like Michigan State. You have to be able to, and again, after the start, I think our defense rallied enough, except for a couple key possessions, but you have to be able to make some plays. Trice made them for them. Dawson made them. We couldn't get those, and again, I thought there's a better effort in the second half to get it moving and get it closer, but that puts a lot of pressure on you.
Middle of the room to our left.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. Coach talked about Dawson, how he played great against you this year and last year. About Trice, though, his development from last year to this year.
Good player. Again, he has the ability to create shots, make shots. When you can stretch the defense like that, and still he's complete. He can score at all three levels: off the drive, off the pull-up, or deep threes. That was a dagger three, the one he hit at the end of the shot clock. It looked like it was an NBA three, and we should have known that. I mean, we saw it against Belmont most of the game, but he drilled one, and again, like Dawson, those two. They were the deal. Valentine, I think their big three, we did a good job on Valentine, but didn't really do the job we needed to be successful against Trice. And as poor as we shot and all those things, we still had a chance, and we just tried to hang in there with it. But when they got a guy like Trice making those plays down the stretch, that's what makes you advance in this tournament.
Any other questions for Coach? Front row.
Jerry Ratcliffe, Daily Progress. What was your main focus at halftime, Tony? Did you feel pretty good considering you hadn't played that well, but you were still close?
Well, offensively, we said, let's shift them. Let's get the ball moving and then really attack. And, we thought we got a couple good looks, and then we said defensively, let's try to keep them off the glass, avoid the runouts, do what we do. There's no magic formula at that time. We need a couple little adjustments here and there, but we went with Evan again at the 4, tried to move him that way so at least there'd be some spacing. Was hoping maybe we could either knock down a shot or open up the lane a little more for some drives, which we got. But it was stay in there. We've been in this spot. Ironically, I think about 17 of our 34 games we've been down at halftime, and so as much as we struggled, it was still a 2-possession game, and but they had a quick burst and we fought back, and it was typical of a lot of our games, but just not enough. And because they're so tough-minded and so good defensively, every start like that was costly, especially against them.
To our left.
Coach, TJ Furiel, ACC Digital. What was it defensively that Michigan State did that really didn't allow Brogdon and Anderson really to get going?
Well, I mean, they jammed the lane. They played a similar defense kind of that we did. Some of them we just missed some shots, but they were in position and they made you earn. They made us shoot pretty tough shots, and when we did get the open looks, we didn't capitalize. A couple times we probably forced, and as I said, didn't screen it well enough or move it well enough. But you were going to have to outlast them. That's how our game was against them last year. We probably didn't have quite the outside attack as last year without Joe, but it's just a physical, hard game, and there's not a lot of easy stuff there, and that was the case again. We knew that.
To our left on the aisle.
Coach, can you talk about the decision to start Justin Anderson today after having him come off the bench in previous games?
Thought it was time. I thought he showed he did a good job, and I was really worried about the matchups, because Evan would have had to guard Valentine, and I thought, and when we played NC State, we put Justin on Anthony Barber, Cat Barber, and he did a really good job spreading out, and I thought, okay, London can really move and try to bother Trice, which Trice just got off to that start, and we liked Malcolm on Valentine. And so we just thought the matchups were good, how Justin played, and, that probably, I don't know if it would have made a difference if Evan were out there or not, but thought it was time.
Middle of the room.
Hey, Coach. David Meeks with USA Today Sports. You played Michigan State 2 years in a row now. How would you compare this team to last year's team, looking forward?
Yeah, they're playing good ball. Last year, with Harris and Payne, they had probably a couple more, big playability guys that could just go get stuff. I'm missing someone. Who's the senior? Harris and Payne and Appling, yeah. So they had some guys with that experience, but they understand who they are. They're very clear. I mean, they go through it's Dawson's team, it's Trice's team. You can see that in Valentine. Those guys have a ton of experience. So maybe not quite as explosive offensively, but very sound, very tough, really play together and know where they got to go to get stuff. So I think that's a fair assessment. And defensively, very good.
Okay, Coach, thank you.
Yep.